Now at 9, Downstream Casino held a bridal show event for future brides and grooms. Plus, Wesley United Methodist Church in Parsons hosted a shrimp boil for the community.
Former President Jimmy Carter enters hospice care. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have more on how his family and supporters are paying tribute. That story's coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Cale Chapman. Metropolitan Weddings is hosting a bridal show at Downstream Casino in Quapaw, Oklahoma. This wasn't just for future brides and grooms. This event also helps the Ronald McDonald House of the 4 states. KOAM's Carrie Worthen joined the excitement and has more on this story.
Metropolitan Weddings host a bridal show at Downstream Casino Resort in Quapaw, Oklahoma. All proceeds from this event are going to the Ronald McDonald House of the 4 states.
I thought that was great because they're a local service, and unfortunately it's one of those things where you don't know that you'll need that service until you're put in that situation.
One groom-to-be has a special connection to the Ronald McDonald House.
My son was born in Joplin Mercy Ronald McDonald House, and it meant the world to me.
Donna Clemens is just one of many volunteers at this event.
It's an incredible opportunity for us. We get our name out to young families and brides and people in the community, and we get to share the mission of Ronald McDonald House, and it's a great fundraiser for us. Helps us support our families who come and stay with us.
And with lots of vendors from food, desserts, suits, photography, and much, much more, there are sure to be something on your list at this event.
Able to sit there and taste some of these vendors and what they put their heart and soul into to make the day as special as possible.
I need a bar services and dessert and a caterer for my wedding.
But it's not all about the bride. Her fiance is here too.
Voluntold. He didn't really get an option.
A venue like this here at Downstream Casino will be able to give back to something that gave me so much.
Let's face it, the grooms-to-be are the real stars of the show. In Quapaw, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
On top of $1,000 in prizes, tons of giveaways, there was also a fashion show, a bounce house, and plenty of photo opportunities. The Miners Hall Museum hosted its next installment of their Money and Metals, Doing Business in the Mining Era exhibit today. Today's program focused on banknotes with discussion about national banknotes and local banking practices. After the presentation, guests were able to explore the rest of the exhibit.
Well, the connection with banking here is very, very important to our local communities. Always has a strong tie to commerce and the development of all these different communities throughout this area here. It's very unique to have a banking family represented in several communities here as well, and their story parallels the story of mining in southeast Kansas.
The museum will feature more special presentations throughout the year. A Parsons, Kansas tradition happened once again today at a local church. The shrimp boil at Wesley United Methodist Church brought good eats to the whole community. Families could enjoy shrimp, sausage, potatoes, corn on the cob, and dessert.
Probably the fact that we are a very giving church and we like to do a lot of mission work. And so this has been a mission project for us that we have done. As I said before, we have decided in the past it has gone to different entities for the profits that we make. So it is a mission project for us, a mission of love.
All proceeds from ticket sales went to support the Grab and Go food ministry at Wesley UMC. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us now for a first look at the weather.
All right, thank you very much. It was a beautiful day across the area. A few clouds came by, and right now we're looking at radar. There's some showers up in north central Kansas, but those are going to skirt to the north of us, not really impacting us all that much. Instead, we're going to see temperatures dropping through the 40s tonight, all the way down to around 40 degrees, upper 30s in some locations. And then tomorrow we're going to see a warm Monday, and we're going to get even warmer on Tuesday with a wet Wednesday and a colder late week. And I'll tell you all about that in our forecast coming up in just a little while.
Coal and oil-fired power plants are about to be required to reduce toxic pollutants, at least to levels set more than a decade ago. The Biden administration finalized a decision to reestablish pollution rules originally set by the Obama administration in 2012. The regulations cut the release of mercury and acid gas from power plant smokestacks before the Trump administration rolled them back. The Environmental Protection Agency estimates the regulations reduced mercury emissions by 86% and acid gas by 96%. Bipartisan calls for an investigation into the Ohio train derailment that spilled toxic chemicals into a small community. The crash and controlled burn of poison has forced thousands in East Palestine to flee their homes. The EPA says it has not detected any contaminants in the town's drinking water and that tests have shown the air is safe to breathe. But many residents in East Palestine and other nearby towns are concerned about the potential long-term health effects. Garrett Tinney is live in East Palestine, Ohio with more.
It's now been more than 2 weeks since the train derailment, and people here are still feeling sick despite officials saying the data suggests the air and water are safe. And these are just the short-term symptoms from chemical exposure. Even more concerning to a lot of people here is what health issues they could potentially be dealing with 10 to 15 years down the road as a result of this disaster.
I think we do need to be concerned about the long-term effects of exposure to this chemical. Back in 2012, there were hundreds of people who went to the ER in the aftermath of that train derailment, and a lot of them did have symptoms, but fortunately, most of those symptoms went away pretty quickly within a month or so of the exposure. But again, the long-term effects do take years, sometimes decades, to actually occur.
Norfolk Southern Railway has promised it will be here for the long haul to make things right. And during his visit to the area this weekend, the railway CEO reiterated that commitment.
This has been devastating to this community, and I want to make sure you understand I am terribly sorry that this happened to the community. Norfolk Southern is fully committed to doing what's right for this community.
City and state officials say so far Norfolk Southern has done everything it's promised to, but they acknowledge there is a very long road ahead, and if at any point the railway tries to walk away, there will be plenty of lawsuits to follow. In East Palestine, Ohio, I'm Garrett Tinney, Fox News.
And later on in sports, we'll recap the Pitt State and Missouri Southern home basketball games from this weekend. February marks 1 year since the federal government required healthcare workers to get vaccinated against COVID. Some are now calling for the mandate to end amid staffing shortages. The Associated Press finding about 5% of nursing homes caring for Medicare or Medicaid patients have been found in violation of the vaccine requirement. Tim Corbin is an administrator at Truman Lake Health Manor in Missouri, a facility that was cited for a vaccination deficiency.
The biggest hurdle that we face is staffing. It's employees. That's our hurdle. And anything you do to inhibit us getting staff or people leaving the industry just hurts patients.
The federal healthcare worker mandate is scheduled to stay in place until November of 2024. Public health officials say there have been reports of bird flu in Santa Barbara, California. The county officials say isolated cases of avian influenza, also known as bird flu, have been found in wild birds. Public health officials warn bird owners to protect their flocks by keeping domestic birds in enclosures and practicing good hygiene, sanitizing equipment when handling birds. The chief medical officer for the influenza division of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, however, says the risk to the general public is low at the moment. A Portland-based initiative is aiming to make sure bars and restaurants in the city are equipped with Narcan, an overdose reversing drug, in cases of emergency. So far, they've given it out to dozens of area businesses. The initiative is called Project Red. Community leaders are working with around 70 businesses to provide Narcan free of charge, as well as training on how to use it. Sam Lane is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, KCI welcomes local residents to see a sneak peek of its new terminal. We'll take you there.
Well, we've had a pretty nice weekend across the area with warming temperatures and some sun and a little bit of clouds too. Right now in Seneca, Missouri, at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Pretty nice night shaping up down there in that area as well as across the entire area. This afternoon we made it up to 62 degrees after starting out at 40, which was way above the normals of 51 and 30. But of course, we weren't close to those records either. 78 back in 2017 and -1 back in 1978. There is some rain on the radar, but it's way up to the north and west. stretching from just west of Wichita up to Hutchinson, Salina, along I-70 over towards Kansas City. That's mainly going to stay to the north. Maybe a few of our northern counties may get a sprinkle or two. Wider view shows the clouds starting to move in from the west, and we're going to stick with those clouds for a while before they start bringing some precipitation as we go into Tuesday night and Wednesday. Temperatures right now are pretty balmy for this time of night. You can see mid to upper 50s from Joplin and points southward. Then you get into the 40s behind a weak boundary. You can kind of see it on the wind shift here across our area, draped in our area. And about 24 hours ago, it was a little bit warmer out to the north and west. And this evening, we're about 10 degrees warmer than we were last night down in places like Grove, Anderson, and Cassville. And looking at the dew points, they're on the increase too, so the moisture is starting to increase with those southerly winds today. You can see dew points in the 20s up to the north, but mid-30s down towards the south. Right now in Joplin, it's 52 degrees, west wind at 6, and so it feels like 52. The dew point's 35, and the pressure is starting to fall just a little bit. In Pittsburgh, it's 44 degrees. Behind that boundary, south wind at 3, and the dew point is 34 degrees on the hour. Future forecast for tonight, lows are going to be generally in the 30s in Kansas, 40s in Missouri and Oklahoma with light and variable winds. And then as we go through the day tomorrow, we'll still stick around with the clouds, but look at these temperatures. Mid to upper 60s across the area, 65 in the Ville, 64 in Welch, 63 in Joplin. Then as we go through Tuesday, we're going to see the winds turn around to more northeasterly direction, so temperatures will be a little bit cooler with readings in the mid-30s and lower 40s. Then on Tuesday afternoon, the clouds are still going to be with us, but south winds return on breezy conditions with highs in the low to mid-60s once again. And then as we go into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, here comes the rain once again from west to east, and by Wednesday morning we'll start to see that rain. Some of the rain could be in the form of thunderstorms, and there is a slight risk, a marginal risk of severe weather, but we'll keep an eye on it. But right now the biggest threat seems to be high winds and heavy rain with some of those storms. Rainfall amounts are going to be heaviest along and south of I-44, where some places could pick up over an inch. And the good news is it looks like this rain shield is advancing further to the north and west, so even southeastern Kansas might get a good dosing. All right, let's take a look at the next 7 days. Here comes the rain Tuesday night into Wednesday, and then cooler on Thursday and Friday, downright chilly on Friday, but more rain next weekend. So all in all, not a bad forecast, especially for mid-February.
Yeah, you know, I like that a lot. I'm going to enjoy my walk to class tomorrow for sure.
Enjoy it, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it tomorrow.
It's going to be nice. All right, well, thank you, Sam. Coming up, we'll take a look at why you may be paying more for used cars in the near future. Kansas City International Airport is planning to open a new terminal at the end of this month. Some Kansas City residents were able to get a sneak peek of the facility. Mark Poulos reports.
10,000 Kansas Cityans got a sneak peek at the new terminal here at KCI today. The new terminal cost $1.5 billion and it replaces the old terminals that opened in 1972, which was more than 50 years ago.
The new terminal project began in 2018 when Kansas City decided it wanted a modern airport. The new terminal is more than 1 million square feet and has plenty of nods to the city of fountains. The new terminal, which sits on the land where Terminal A used to be, will have 40 gates to start, but will be able to expand to 50 gates in the future. Earlier today, we talked to a representative of the airport, and he says it was beyond time for KCI to move into a modern terminal.
The existing terminals have some problems. There's not enough restroom capacity in the gate area. There's not enough seats in the gate areas. And there's just, quite frankly, not enough space.
This is great. I'm really glad to see them really invest back into the city and bring us, kind of up to modern times, because the old airport, really was showing its age.
You might soon be paying more money for a used car. Wholesale prices for used cars being sold at auction have risen sharply in the last few weeks. According to Manheim, prices jumped 4% in just the last 2 weeks alone. That's an unusually large increase in such a short period of time. And the jump also caught industry insiders by surprise. A shortage of new car inventory helped drive both new and used car prices to record levels earlier last year. Home prices are going up across the country, but there are some areas that are seeing price drops. The National Association of Realtors reports single-family median home prices increased 4% in the fourth quarter from over a year ago to more than $378,000. but researchers found that a few markets saw double-digit price drops. That median price of more than $1.5 million is down 5.8% from a year ago. Analysts say major retailers could see their sales decline this year. On Tuesday, major chains will begin releasing their results for the holiday quarter, which will give a more clear picture of where they stand. But it appears that shopping surges followed the pandemic lockdowns are winding down, and retailers could be in store for a reality check. They may even have to cut costs to deal with a slowdown in sales. On top of that, there's lingering concern about a possible recession. Up next, we'll take a look at a French bulldog that is being described as a, quote, terror dog. He now has 3 strikes against him, but he's not out. Ralphie is the 1-year-old 26-pound French bulldog described by a New York shelter as a terror in a somewhat small package. This week, he was returned yet again after another unsuccessful adoption by a woman who tried but couldn't tame the little guy. The canine menace went viral a few weeks ago through the shelter's ad for Ralphie, with phrases including "wrath will ensue." Ralphie's first family found a new home for him after unsuccessful training. His second home didn't take after that family said Ralphie annoyed their older dog. Following his now 3rd failed adoption, the shelter has enrolled Ralphie in a 6-week boarding program where hopefully he'll get some training. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports are coming your way. Coming up, we'll take a look at a new bill that has passed for Oklahoma regarding transgender youth. After an hour of questions and debate, a bill banning certain health care for transgender youth in Oklahoma passed on the state Senate floor on Wednesday. Peyton May reports.
Advocates for transgender youth filled the meeting, reacting when the bill's sponsor, Senator Julie Daniels, said her bill is not targeting anyone.
The purpose of this bill is to protect children under the age of 18 and make sure that they reach some level of maturity before they make these life-changing decisions.
Across the aisle, Democrats are concerned about taking healthcare decisions away from parents, healthcare professionals being convicted of a felony, and a community of kids feeling like their voices aren't heard.
I think transgender Oklahomans deserve our respect, they deserve dignity, and just acting like they don't exist and trying to ban any kind of medical care is not going to make them go away.
Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us now for weather.
All right, we've had a beautiful day across the area. No precipitation in the immediate area. However, there are some rain showers up towards the north and west of Wichita, on over towards Emporia and Kansas City. Most of that's going to stay to the north, although a few counties up to our north might see a sprinkle or two later on tonight. Not expecting a large area of rainfall. Instead, we're going to see temperatures dropping through the 40s tonight, all the way down to 40 degrees by tomorrow morning. And looking down the lane, it looks like we're going to have a warm Monday on tap, and then a warmer Tuesday with a wet Wednesday, and then colder later on in the week. And we'll tell you all about that in our forecast coming up in just a little bit, so stay with us.
All right, well, thank you, Sam. Former President Jimmy Carter has entered home hospice care in Plains, Georgia. People across the country are reflecting on his legacy. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively has more.
Former President Jimmy Carter is resting at his Georgia home after deciding to no longer seek life-prolonging medical treatment.
There's a kindness. There's like a genuine level of kindness there.
Support is pouring in for former President Jimmy Carter as he undergoes hospice care at home. The Carter Center announcing Saturday the 98-year-old has chosen to spend his remaining time with family following a series of short hospital stays. Carter's grandson, a former Georgia state senator, tweeted Saturday, "I saw both of my grandparents yesterday. They are at peace, and as always, their home is full of love." In 2015, Carter was diagnosed with melanoma that had spread to his liver and brain. He later said he's been declared cancer-free. Despite his health challenges, Carter maintained an active lifestyle, working with his nonprofit, the Carter Center, and building homes with Habitat for Humanity. The organization's CEO issuing a statement, "We pray for his comfort and for their peace, and that the Carter family experiences the joy of their relationships with each other and with God in this time." A devout Christian, Carter taught Sunday school into his 90s, once telling congregants he was at ease with whatever may come.
There's no doubt that everybody in this room is given life. And secondly, I know that every one of you has the freedom to decide what kind of life you want to live.
At 98 years old, Jimmy Carter has lived longer than any other president in U.S. history. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
The Michigan State University community continues coming together to honor the victims of its campus shooting. A crowd of students and staff members held a candlelight vigil on campus to mourn and heal together yesterday. The event is honoring the 3 victims killed as well as the others injured. The university said the proceeds from their upcoming artifact event, Sparty Ball, in March will go on to fund the school to help support the victims of the shooting as well as boost mental health services across campus. A police officer has died at Temple University. Authorities say the officer was intervening in a carjacking at the school's campus in North Philadelphia when he was shot. He was later rushed to the university hospital where he later died from his injuries. Police have not yet revealed the officer's identity. University officials say the suspect fled the area. Police are currently investigating. A Mississippi man is facing a capital murder charge after a shooting spree, happening at different locations within Tate County, Mississippi. The shooting left 6 people dead, including the shooter's ex-wife. The sheriff said that the county says more charges are expected in the coming days. Investigators are trying to determine a motive for the shootings. Fox News correspondent Charles Watson is at the scene with the first shooting in the small town of Arcabutla, Mississippi, near the Tennessee border.
The Tate County Sheriff says the suspect charged in this case was heavily armed with a shotgun and 2 handguns as he went to multiple locations and killed at least 6 people. The shooting spanned 4 different scenes, the first being this gas station here behind me in the small town of Arcabutla, Mississippi. This is where the sheriff says the suspect, identified as Richard Dale Crum, opened fire and killed a man sitting in the driver's seat of a pickup truck in the gas station's parking lot around 11 Friday morning. The victim's brother was also in the pickup truck but was able to escape through the woods after Crum allegedly chased him briefly. While deputies were working the initial scene, a second call came in about another shooting at a home a couple of miles away. When deputies arrived, they found the deceased body of a woman later identified as the suspect's ex-wife and her current husband, George Drain, who was wounded. We spoke to Drain, who said the suspect hit him with the barrel of a shotgun while his wife begged for her life.
I heard her pleading for him not to hurt her or kill her, and he took what was left of the shotgun right to her head. Shot her in the head with a shotgun.
Sometime later, a sheriff's deputy recognized a car matching the description of the suspects and tried to pull him over, but authorities say he did not stop and led the deputy on a chase that ended at Crum's home, where deputies arrested him. Investigators would find 4 more people shot to death nearby, 2 handymen behind Crum's home, and the bodies of his stepfather and stepsister inside of a neighboring home. The sheriff says all of this has really shocked this community of less than 300.
We have crime. Everybody has crime, and from time to time we have violent crime, but certainly nothing of this magnitude.
The suspect is currently jailed without bond. He is currently facing 1 count of capital murder, but more charges are expected. In Tate County, Mississippi, Charles Watson, Fox News.
Still ahead, how teachers are finding that AI Chat GPT could help benefit students in school.
Well, for mid-February, we've had a pretty good weekend across the area with temperatures a little bit above normal, especially today. Right now in Seneca, Missouri, the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, mostly fair conditions down that way as across the entire forested area. We made it up to 62 degrees today after starting out at 40, which was above the normals of 51 and 30. Of course, we weren't anywhere close to those records of 78 back in 2017 and -1 back in 1978. So we can have a wide variety of temperatures in the forest states this time of year. Right now, radar showing some activity up towards the north and west of Emporia, extending over towards Topeka and Kansas City. A lot of this is going to stay to the north. We might see a few sprinkles or light showers on our more northern counties, but that's about it. Satellite view shows a little strip of convection here across Kansas, but that is about it. We're not really expecting a whole lot until we get to Wednesday and Tuesday night. We'll talk about that in a moment, but temperatures right now are not that bad. Generally in the lower 40s up to the north and west, and even some 50s still showing up down to the south in Jay and Grove with our friends there, 54 degrees at both of those locations. And this evening we're running around 5 to 10 degrees warmer than we were last night at this time in extreme southwestern Missouri and Oklahoma. A little bit cooler up to the north and west where the clouds were a little bit thicker today. And when we're looking at the dew points, they're on the increase too. Right now it's 29 in Yates Center, 29 in Neosho, but there are some mid-30s and even some upper 30s like Lamar right now and Mount Vernon with a dew point of 37 degrees. So the moisture is out there and it's going to be increasing as we go over the next couple of days with those south winds. Right now it's 52 in Joplin, west wind at 6, and the dew point is 35. In Pittsburgh it's 44 and a calm wind, and the dew point is currently 34 degrees on the hour. Temperatures tonight are going to drop down into the 30s across our area with easterly winds and light and variable winds down in Oklahoma with temperatures in the upper 30s to lower 40s. Then as we go through the day tomorrow, everyone should make it into the 60s with light and variable winds with a few clouds here and there. Then as we go through Monday night into Tuesday morning, our winds are going to turn more to a northeasterly direction with lows generally in the upper 30s to lower 40s. And then as we head through Tuesday afternoon, we're going to see the south winds returning, breezy conditions with highs in the low to mid 60s, maybe some upper 50s as well. Then as we go through Tuesday night into Wednesday, here comes the rain again from west to east with temperatures in the 50s and 60s by Wednesday morning. There is a slight risk, a marginal risk of some of the thunderstorms Wednesday morning getting a little bit severe. Low on the tornado risk, low on the large hail, moderate on the wind and the heavy rainfall. And speaking of rainfall, some places could pick up over an inch of rain in some isolated spots. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But southeastern Kansas needs the rain and looks like they're going to get some. Here's over the next 7 days. Looking pretty good for tomorrow, 67, then warmer on Tuesday and Wednesday with the rain coming in on Wednesday morning. Then much cooler on Thursday and Friday with another chance of rain next weekend. And then it turns drier and mild after that. But March looks to be a little bit different. We'll talk more about that in the coming days, but let's enjoy the nice weather while we have it.
Yeah, I'll take 68 degrees.
That's
take great. It. Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, thank you, Sam. Don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. That's the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Football fans bet big on the Super Bowl. More than 100 million sports betting transactions were placed during Super Bowl weekend. That's up 25% compared to last year. That's according to GeoComply, a company that processes geolocation checks to verify online sports bettors' locations. Super Bowl 57 was the first one played in a state where sports gambling is legal. Still ahead, we've got all your area college baseball and softball scores in sports. And MSSU clashes on the court with Fort Hays State. We'll see how they did. Well, the Pittsburgh State Gorillas split a basketball doubleheader with Nebraska Kearney on Saturday. On the women's side, the Gorillas battled to the end but fell just short, losing 70-67. Pitt State actually led by 10 at one point in the third quarter, but UNK rallied to tie it up going into the fourth quarter and took the lead with under 30 seconds to go. The Gorillas had all 5 starters in double figures Saturday, led by point guard Harper Schreiner. The freshman was aggressive all night and finished with 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists.
I mean, all year I've wanted Harper to just continue to be aggressive, get downhill. She is so strong, such a great driver. And, she just knows that she's playing with a lot of great players, and she's a point guard, and so she really likes to distribute and facilitate. I think, like you said, we're kind of seeing just scratching the surface of what she can do this year. But, yes, being more aggressive to the rim in our offense is definitely a key for point guard.
The Pittsburgh State men snapped a 4-game losing streak on Saturday, beating the Lopers 93-85. They also had all 5 starters in double figures, with Jeremy Shaw and Marquis English leading the way. Shaw scored a season-high 23 points, while English posted a double-double with 23 points and 12 rebounds. The Gorillas will be back in action on Thursday on the road against Emporia State. The Missouri Southern Lions were also in action at home yesterday. The Lions split a doubleheader with Fort Hays State. The Southern men fell to the Tigers 84-70. On the women's side, the Lions beat the Tigers 61-58 in their final home game of the regular season. Missouri Southern out-rebounded Fort Hays State 44-28, and they got a big game out of junior guard Chrislyn Jones. Jones led the Lions with 18 points, including going 4 for 8 from 3.
she's such a good shooter. When she gets rolling, we try to do different things that we can get her more shots. Sometimes she gets a little too passive for me. She has some opportunities, but no, she was big, especially that first half, knocking down shots. It's huge that when we get our kids that are shooters knocking shots down, it doesn't make our offense any easier, but it gives us a better opportunity to get to the basket.
We'll be right back after a short break, but first, here are some local college basketball and softball scores from this afternoon. The rise of artificial intelligence continues, with software like ChatGPT now becoming more prominent in places like schools and houses of worship. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel takes a closer look at how it's being used.
It's actually creating right in front of you.
ChatGPT is a tool that gathers information from the entire internet as well as from books and scientific journals. The program draws from its database to generate conversations, essays, poetry, and more.
If you ask it to write a play about 4 fifth graders and here's the problem that happens, it'll do that for you.
Critics warn students will be able to use the software to cheat on assignments, but some teachers say similar concerns existed about other technology and wound up not becoming a reality.
When Google Drive first came out, there was that big concern, kids are just going to share their docs with one another and then they're just going to copy and paste stuff from the internet and turn that in and claim it's their own work. Guess what? The majority of students don't do that.
And while ChatGPT can produce factual and grammatical errors, some educators say this is an opportunity to teach about proper sentence structure and how to use credible sources to fact check. But the program isn't just being used in schools.
I told ChatGPT to write me a sermon in the voice of a rabbi of about 1,000 words about the Torah portion on the theme of intimacy and vulnerability.
While some religious leaders are also experimenting with ChatGPT for crafting sermons, some say there are limitations because AI can't quite understand faith. Meantime, competition in the AI market is heating up. Google recently unveiled its conversation bot called Bard, which is expected to rival ChatGPT. Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Computer science majors who graduated recently are finding they're earning less than they had expected. The National Association of Colleges and Employers has found layoffs in the tech industry may have taken a toll on the financial outlook of this year's crop of college graduates. A new survey is predicting computer science majors who graduate this year will earn salaries 4% below a year ago. In recent years, major tech companies have laid off tens of thousands of workers. Up next, how a special dog at a Kentucky animal shelter is stealing the hearts of employees. It's a problem many communities face these days. They're seeing an increase in stray animals in their neighborhoods. And in Lexington, Kentucky, animal control officers say they've seen more animals needing their help. One dog in particular has stolen their hearts. Garrett Wimmer has the details.
The road to recovery for Doug is long, and it's going to be even longer.
No owner in sight and all on his own. Lexington Fayette Animal Care and Control officers found the dog they're calling Doug near I-75 at 8th and Boonesboro.
These are very significant injuries that he's going to have to overcome.
Doug's already had the first of several surgeries.
So that will be a long process, a long road to recovery. We see several weeks and surgeries ahead of that, so he will go into foster care until he is available for adoption.
But through it all, officers say Doug is somehow still smiling.
Unfortunately, we don't want to see dogs end up in Doug's situation where they are turned loose and don't know how to navigate that. And then unfortunately end up, possibly being hit by a car.
Doug's story is an all too familiar one for animal care and control officers and for those at the Lexington Humane Society.
We have seen a rise in loose dogs, and it's hard to attribute it to one specific thing.
They've seen the increase in intake, which means that we've also seen the increase in the number of dogs and cats available for adoption.
And those pets looking for new homes come to the Humane Society which relies entirely on private donations, grants, and community support.
We have lots of animals looking for homes, and to encourage people to come out and visit with them and hopefully take one home, such as Doug.
To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app.
Yeah, good thing to have, especially as we start heading into spring and severe weather season. It's important to have that app handy. In fact, we might see some strong storms on Wednesday morning, but before we get there, we're going to have warm weather on tomorrow and Tuesday. Then the storms come in on Wednesday morning. Gets colder as we go into Thursday and Friday. In fact, chilly on Friday, but then more rain comes in next weekend, and then it starts to turn mild again back to the early part of next week. But beyond that, as we start March, some of the data indicates we could be returning back to a more winter-like situation in the first part of March. So winter is not going to give up just yet.
Yeah, well, I'll be sure to keep my coat around.
That's right. Don't put it up just yet.
I won't. All right, well, that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you now with a video of a mink playing with bubbles at a San Antonio zoo. We'll see you back here next time. Thanks for making us a part of your night.